Être un bon traiteur, c'est être intransigeant sur la qualité. On ne fait du bon qu'avec le meilleur. C'est être impitoyable sur les recettes. Quand c'est bon, il n'y a rien à ajouter, rien à enlever. C'est être irréprochable sur le goût. Il faut prendre du plaisir pour en donner. Voilà, pour être un bon traiteur, il faut être intraitable.
Parfaitement intraitable.
Hello everybody, welcome to Motorland Aragon here in Spain, and welcome to the second Ultimate GT Sprint Cup race of the weekend, here as part of the Ultimate Cup Series European Series. It is Chaz Draker on commentary for this one, and we have the cars making their way out to the grid just now, and as you see, headlights ablaze on a lot of these cars. It's gotten much darker here this afternoon here in Spain as we head into the evening. Can't already believe actually it's 6:30, just checking then, thinking it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but definitely not. We've had a very bright and hot day here, so I think the drivers and importantly their tyres will be very pleased with the fact that they are not out in ridiculously hot conditions for this one. We had the wonderful Lyle Schofield taking the victory earlier on in the day in the 353 Ferrari that you can see on your screen there. Interestingly, starting from the back of the grid for this race here, in 7th place, Emilio Rocchi behind the wheel of that car. I think he was a last-minute change for Paolo Roberti, who was scheduled to be sharing the car with Lyle this weekend, but they've had the last-minute driver changeover in the Ferrari 488 Challenge car. The win earlier on went Lyle's way by just over 8 seconds in the end it was. And he'll be hoping for a similar result, but at the end of the day, we've got Patrick Michellier at the front of the pack, and he's been looking pretty strong. He was the only one that could really hold a candle to Lyle Schofield in the previous race. And we'll see now how the drivers get on as they form up ready for the grid. And it will be Patrick Michellier on the front row with Pierre Arau alongside him. Pierre starting this one strangely ahead of Jules Donchieu. He just about missed out on taking the class victory in the earlier race. After there was a 5-second penalty for Jules Donchieu. And Pierre was 5.5 seconds behind come the end. And as you can see, they are not exactly 2x2 formation as they get to the starting line. And as the lights go out, we are underway for the second Ultimate GT Sprint Cup race of the weekend. And way out of formation was the Porsche of Donchieu. He was over on the left-hand side. I had a little chat with him after the first race, and he was saying he was very entertained by the little scrap that he had with Pierre Arau. Pierre was throwing the car down the inside into the hairpin at all times, and Jules was able to get one over on him and get the cutback out of the corner. But we're underway. Pierre Arau already has Francois Denis right behind him in the Ginetta. In the opening moments, the G55 looking very potent in these first few corners. We wait to see Emilio Rocchi head out there in 353, but it seemed like he was only just ahead of the medical car for a moment there. Seemed like he wasn't quite at full chat, to say the least. Lyle Schofield, championship leader at the moment. This championship has 4 races over each weekend. Lyle Schofield has won, well, he won both races at Mugello. But Alexis Berthet was the driver taking the first and third races at Paul Ricard earlier on in the year. But in terms of the last race meeting, Lyle Schofield wasn't here, so even with that, he still leads the way from Berthet, Perrin. Jordan Boisson has actually been racing in the championship as well. We've seen Jordan racing in the GT Endurance Cup for this weekend, the Kenol GT Endurance Cup. Right now, we've got this battle on screen with the Audi R8 just ahead of the Ginetta G55. Seems to be missing a headlight cover on the right-hand side, does the Ginetta. You can see the straight line speed of the Audi very apparent here as they head up towards turn 16. And Emilio Rocchi is just fading into the background, unfortunately. He's not quite on the pace of the other drivers up ahead. We have Oliver Huez in the Audi R8 here as well, in car 444. That was raced earlier by Marine Pidou. But Oliver Huez seemingly taking over for this second race of the weekend, the SXM car 444. And that just behind is one of the Midjet machines, the Midjet Super T from Chloe Hellery. She was out in the earlier race as well, putting in some of her best lap times right at the end of the race as well, constantly improving on her pace towards the end. We have Patrick Michellier leading this race at the moment in the Ferrari, one of the 2 488 GT3s that we have out there. Just trying to see what sort of time Emilio Rocchi did. He didn't do a fast first lap at all. I'm not sure if he's having some sort of problem with the car, but the car that won the first race by 8 seconds, the car we have on our screen right now, is currently 12 seconds down on the pack. So really not sure what the situation is there with Emilio, whether he's just not as familiarised with this circuit. It's a new circuit to everybody here in the Ultimate Cup Series. There's only a few drivers that have raced here before in previous categories, but in terms of what they're in this weekend, completely new kettle of fish. There is the 353. Lovely looking race car is the 488 Challenge. We've had a track limits report for turn 5 for car 88. That is Chloe Hellery in the Midjet machine. But right now, Patrick Michellier leading the way. He's got a 4-second gap over Jules Doncieux. Jules in the Porsche GT4 car, the Cayman GT4, based on the 981 version. It's one of the earliest GT4s. As it sounded like somebody had a slight slide or a bit of a moment just then, and I think somebody has had an off at the bottom of the hill. There's a lot of gravel kicked up and a lot of smoke down at turn 16. Is that... No, it's not Patrick Michellier. We've had a yellow flag down at turn 16. And, the Ginetta is off and in the wall on the right-hand side. It did say that the 555 hadn't come through the final sector, but I didn't even see their dot moving through it. And, unfortunately, Francois Denis is off the road and into the barriers on the right-hand side, and it looks like the car's had quite the impact as well, actually. You can see by the tyre marks. He's hit the wall and bounced off it and then hit the wall again. It's a strange place to have an incident unless he's had some sort of mechanical failure. He was fighting with the Audi of Pierre Arau, but he was pretty much just following in the wheel tracks for the first few laps that we'd seen. And the marshals are running over to the car now and hoping to get it out of harm's way, I imagine. And we've got the safety car out on circuit now, so they can obviously recover that machine. And that is a big, big shame. The only Ginetta in the field as well. Lovely, lovely race car. Has had its race ended very early. I was going to say I heard some sort of tyre scraping, tyres squealing away at the bottom. But it's just strange how the car has gone hard right down there into the hairpin. But it's all speculation at this point. Obviously, the main thing is that we hope that Francois Denis is okay. It moves the rest of the field up a position. Olivier Huez, I should say, Chloe Hellery and Emilio Rocchi. I was just intrigued by Emilio Rocchi's pace, or lack of. It seemed like he had a problem with the car to begin with, but like I've said, it might be just familiarization with the circuit. And now the field makes its way across the start-finish line, heading up towards the safety car, which will be waiting for them just on the exit of pit lane and in the first sector. But like I say, a big, big shame to have lost the Ginetta, a unique car in this field. And we there see the MIT Jet, based on the BMW M4, at least with the headlights and the rear lights. It's just stickers, basically. And now you can see just how much darker it's getting here, though, with all the field with their lights on. It's crazy how quickly it's come over as well, but once the sun sets here in this part of the world, once the hills cast a shadow, that's it. The evening just suddenly arrives very quickly. The field now just making their way through turns 4 and 5. You can see just how small the MIT Jet car is. It's obviously made wider by the large body kit and the humongous arches, but the main sort of shape and chassis of the car is a very, very small design. Similar to a Legends car that race all over the world. There's many different series of those great little machines in Europe, and again run on the same sort of premise. It's a Yamaha motorbike engine with less than 200 horsepower, but the cars weigh around 500 kilos and less. Some of the racing they provide is fantastic as well, very slipstream and pack focused racing. We still wait for Emilio Rocchi to catch up with the tail end of the order. He's just making his way up now to turn 8, I believe. We should see him in the back of shot in a moment. Yeah, the yellow flag waving in the background there signals his arrival. And now we have been reduced, unfortunately, to just 6 cars in this one. Just under 16 minutes left to go. And hopefully the safety car period will be a short one so we can get back to racing action. And hopefully the Ginetta can be moved quite quickly. I've just had a quick look at our camera, looking down there. They have got a recovery vehicle down there, so hopefully it won't be long before they can move that car away. But it is a big, big shame, and obviously we hope that if there's any damage to the car, it's only light and they can fix it before tomorrow's races. There's been a signal from race control saying that all cars must follow the safety car with the shortcut before turn 16. So when they get to the bottom end of the straight, there is a shortcut that avoids the end of the hairpin, or basically the main segment of the hairpin. so they can cut through towards the end of the lap. Similar to what we had at Mugello back in April, with a smaller version of the circuit. Basically, after I think it was turns 5 and 6, you can turn right to go straight back onto the start-finish straight, rather than going all the way round to the far loop of the track. We'll see it here, actually. You can see, look, as they just get to this part of the circuit now, they'll go left here, rather than coming all the way to the end where our camera is located. And it gives you an idea of just how fast that section of the track would be without the hairpin to slow things down. It's one of those circuits where there's a lot of variations simply based on the idea of slowing certain categories down into what could be problem corners. And there's a lot of it with the sort of middle sector of the lap, where we go from turn 12 to 13, 14 and 15. It's very often that they come out turn 10 and they have a straight run with no chicanes all the way down to what we are using as turn 16. The hairpin at the bottom. It's an incredible bit of a racing circuit. And I think with that becomes one of the longest, I mean, it's not completely straight all the way down, but it's one of the longest back straights in the world in motorsport venues. But right now the field heading around, and based on the previous laps that they did, because Emilio Rocchi was catching up with the back of the field, quite funnily on our track map, it's showing that he has surpassed the safety car and driven off into the distance, which, as you can see on your screen right now, is not the case. He is sat behind the Mitjet Super T of Chloe Hellery. We now wait to see how quick the recovery is of the 555 Ginetta from the barrier down there. It looked like it was quite wedged in, so hopefully they're able to get it out cleanly and not cause any further damage to the car. You do sometimes get the unfortunate circumstance where a car during recovery ends up with a little bit more damage. But this is the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. Safety car will be in this lap, we're hearing. Great stuff. Good job from the recovery team down there. Seems like one of the teams has gone walkies there, actually, at the side of the circuit, having a bit of a track walk in the evening. I think one of them made a friendly hand gesture there at a fellow driver currently out there on the circuit. Not that the drivers will have much chance to see them from there. You can hear the Mitjet Super T making a fantastic noise, actually, with its little Yamaha engine. They're usually only between 1300 and 1500 cc, so not a big engine at all. We look again at car 353, was driven by Lyle Schofield just earlier today in the first race and went to victory here in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. And the wonderful contrast of two cars there, the 444 Audi R8, the Evo GT4 car, and then the Mitjet category machine of the number 88. Two very different cars, different engines, different shapes, different layouts even. The Mitjet cars are still rear-wheel drive, so still spicy little race cars to try and keep under control. I think they will go all the way down to the hairpin this time, yes. That signifies the fact that the circuit has been cleared a bit more. You can see a lot of the marbles, actually, and bits of gravel sort of reflecting on the surface when the headlights go over them there. And now they make their way around the final corner. The green lights come on, green flags are waved, and we're back underway in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. And straight away, Pierre Arau down the inside of Jules Dancieux. And this actually gives a good opportunity here to Olivier Huez, who is just behind the other Audi in front. And Pierre Arau didn't complete that move. It looked like it was a dead set maneuver there. Again, after I was speaking to Jules earlier on, he was saying that, you know, these sends down the inside from the Audi in the first race, he was ready to cover them off and go for the cutback on the exit. And it seems like just in this first few moments since getting going again, he's managed to clear away. And Emilia Rocchi still not quite getting that Ferrari up to the same pace we saw from it earlier on. Rocchi has only had a few points finishes actually so far this season in the races that he's done. He's done 4 so far. He wasn't at Portimao, but he had 2 at Mugello and 2 at Paul Ricard. He had a non-finish in race 2 at Paul Ricard, but he's only scored a total of 2 points so far in the championship, unfortunately. Quite the contrast to his teammate driving the car. And Lyle Schofield leading the championship, but by just 2 points to Alexis Berthet. But obviously he's not here this weekend for this series. Stefan Perrin isn't either. Neither is Boisson, Gadouin or Morahan. So he's got quite the opportunity to extend his lead, as we have Olivier Huez going back past the Mitjet car down the back straight. I wonder if he's had a bit of a moment there. It does look like, actually, on the Audi R8. I did mention earlier that the right rear brake light seems to be slightly out of position, but the wing end plate is also missing on that R8. It does have quite a bit of tape on the rear corner too, which I didn't notice earlier, so must have had a biff with the barrier or something over the course of the weekend, but it was definitely like that when we started the first race, so maybe something in practice or qualifying yesterday. Still, a very good looking race car. You can see just how much the intakes stick out of the side of the thing. As there is the not quite BMW of Chloe Hellery. Currently running in 5th position ahead of the Ferrari of Emilia Rocchi. Patrick McEllier did a purple last lap, 2 minutes 10.025. And I'm sure we'll continue on a similar impressive pace as well, having a good run so far. As, again, the Audi has gone around the 444. Once again facing the wrong way. Olivier Huez gets back up to speed. But once more, they're having an issue with the car. Seems like the balance of that machine is just not quite on their side. But back up to speed they go, making a great racket as they head around as well. 5.2 litre V10 in the back of that Audi R8. A very big engine for quite the small car. And we've had, oh wow, we've had 5-second penalties for multiple cars for being out of position. Now, I mentioned at the start of the race that Donsiu was the one that seemed to be out of position because he was very far over to the left-hand side, but it was actually the 353, the 73, and the 88 that were on the wrong side of the grid. Now, I'm just going to check what the original grid was, and I'd put money on it being the fact that it was all those drivers on the left-hand side. Let's have a look. It was the 353, the 88, and the 73. Yes, they were all out of position, so they all get 5 seconds added on, except for Jules Donsiu on the left-hand side, because he was the one that was in position, despite it looking like he was the only one out of position. Very interesting turn of events here, as Chloe Hellery has gotten back in front of Olivier Huez. I think those positions may change again on the next lap, but keeping an eye out to see what happens with the Audi R8. But the 444 seemingly losing a bit of confidence at this stage of the race. The Ferrari leading the way is Patrick McEllier. Continues to charge forward here. 2:09.6 on that previous lap. Doing a very solid job. Makes a good noise though, doesn't it, the 488 Challenge car. V8 engine in the back of that machine. Turbocharged as well. Twin turbos, I believe, in the 488. And in the road car too. What a potent machine. There is second place in the background, Jules Donchou. And then behind, Pierre Arau, who is 3.6 seconds back at the moment. Now this time, Pierre might be close enough to finish in the lead of his class, but it's cars 73, 88 and 53 that are receiving penalties for being out of position. So the 73 of Jules Donchou, I should say, car 88, which is Chloe Hallyday, and car 353. Oh, sorry, it's not Jules Donchou, is it? Of course not. It is our race leading car that is receiving the penalty. Patrick Michellier, 209.5 on that last lap as well for Patrick, so another improvement and another fastest lap of the race. As we see the lovely Porsche 981 Cayman GT4 circulating here at the hands of Jules Donchou. Luckily for the drivers involved with penalties, they're all over 5 seconds ahead of the cars behind at present. Chloe Hallyday, if Olivier Huez puts in some pretty spicy laps and just uses the general pace advantage of the car in these final moments, then he'll be able to get back ahead, I'm pretty sure. As once again we see the Porsche Cayman into turn 12. Makes a fantastic noise as well of its own accord. You can just hear the Audi R8 as well in the background there with its wonderful sounding V10. Now the laps are over 2 minutes apiece here, so we are going to be going on to the final lap next time round. It will mean that Patrick Michellier will have just one more circulation. Pierre Arau currently running in third place, 4.5 seconds off the back of the Porsche ahead, with no pressure though of any penalties or anything along those lines. But looking at it, Olivier Huez still not quite with Chloe Hallyday. I'm going to check the lap times when they next come through. They're both going down the back straight now towards turn 16. And there is Pierre Arau down towards turn 1. You can hear the brakes squeaking away on that Audi. Wonder if he overdid it earlier on with his exuberance on the brakes in the first race. Across the line then comes Chloe Hallyday in the mid-jet machine. How many seconds back is Olivier Huez? 3.9. So at the moment, he will gain a place due to that time penalty. So Chloe's having to drive the wheels off that mid-jet to stay in front for just one more lap. But she needs to maintain the advantage and just hope that Olivier Huez has another moment similar to the multitude of them that we've seen from that seemingly difficult to drive Audi R8. It's been a bit of a tricky machine for them to master by the look of it. There is the 444 in question. But there is our race leader, car number 73, driven by Patrick Michellier. You can see the speed of that Ferrari when it gets stretching its legs down the back straight. Remarkable car. It's great to see these machines racing in their own category. Again, a one-make championship that's always a joy to watch, always a joy to listen to as well. But around the final corner, to take the race victory comes Patrick Michellier in the Ferrari. Finished second earlier on. Now he gets himself a race win here at Motorland Aragon. Second place is going to go the way of the Porsche of Jules Donchou. And on that final lap, doing a personal best as well, a 2:12.367. Pierre Aragon next up. I think had a slight problem on that last lap, actually lost 1.7 seconds to the Porsche ahead, but that's second in class for Pierre. And what about Chloe Hallyday? Is Chloe able to put in a quick enough time to hold the advantage of 5 seconds ahead of Olivier Huez? They're about to come across the line now. Chloe did a 2:16.2, and the gap is only 3.2 seconds, so nicking that final podium spot is Olivier Huez in the Audi. And Emilio Rocchi will be the final driver to cross the line. I think he's just coming through the middle sector. He's just about to come onto the back straight now, but there is your race winner, Patrick Michellier in the Ferrari. Lovely day at the office for the Ferrari 488 Challenge cars of SR&R and CMR. One win apiece for those teams so far this weekend. 2 more races still to come tomorrow from this championship as well. We have the first of them at 10:15 local time. The second one will be the final English commentated race of the weekend, actually, at 6:05 to complete our action. That's when our broadcasts will go live anyway. And now Emilio Rocchi across the line and completes our field of cars for this one. Scores another championship point at least for the Troubles and contributes to his overall tally. But it's still going to be Lyle Schofield that is top of the pile there. Patrick Michellier, though, getting, I think, his best result of the season with that one. He gets 16 points for winning a race, and it looks like that is Patrick's first win of this season. He had at Portimao 3 results in the exact same position, which would have been 5th, and then a 4th place. There you go, Patrick Michellier. Donchou in 2nd ahead of Pierre Aragon, and then it was Huez moving up to 4th ahead of Hallyday, and then Emilio Rocchi completing the drivers, unfortunately, for Francois Denis. His race was over after just a couple of laps in the barrier down there at turn 16. The cars now making their way into the pit lane. And as you see, the Ferrari 488 lines up with the number 1 board, Porsche next to them. And that is going to conclude the action here for today, at least in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. We will have still a few more races left to go today, so do not go anywhere. But we'll be back with 2 more of these tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.